Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you guys some tips on what to do when a set first comes out. Now, it's a bit confusing, like do you go all in at the start? What makes a set investable? What do you need to look for? So today I'm going to give you some tips, and because the latest set out is Obsidian Flames, we're going to focus pretty heavily on that. Now, my man, the great man, Charizard, the Fire Lizard, getting some more love in Obsidian Flames. I did a video not too long ago about him getting overused before I even knew Obsidian Flames was coming out. And what do you know? Here we go, he's back. He's back again. So the latest English set, Obsidian Flames. Now, I suppose when it comes to investing heavily in a set when it first comes out, whether you do that or not, for me as a collector / investor, I always like to make sure I get at least one booster box and one elite trainer box of each new set. That's just my plan. And if I think it's a good set and worth investing in, then I'll pick up more product. But I always like to get at least one booster box and one elite trainer box. And if there's a nice sort of ancillary product, like I think it's got a cool 3-pack blister with a nice promo inside there, Q maybe Evolving Skies with the Umbreon inside there, you know when there's something good there to invest in. So that's what I like to do. It's hard to say no. I don't want to feel like I'm missing out. And the other side of that coin is, even if it doesn't look like a good set from an investability standpoint, you just never know. I mean, look back to the Sword and Shield era, and this is the one I missed out on. I don't have a booster box of it yet, and I'm kicking myself because it's not part of my collection, and that's Rebel Clash. That box, when it came out, and I was probably a bit more about investing rather than collecting, I thought, nah, no good. It doesn't tick any of the boxes for an investable set. And, well, I guess I was wrong there, wasn't I? It didn't end up getting printed anywhere near as much as any of the other Sword and Shield sets, so hence it's risen in price quite steadily. And I suppose I better bite the bullet and buy one just so I've got one as part of the collection, but missed out there. Anyway, moving along. What to look for or what to do when a set first comes out. So I've got sort of 3 tips for you. Then I'm going to work on, I suppose, a summary at the end about how do you know? Like, how do you know whether you should invest in it? Then finally, I want to give Obsidian Flames with my man Charizard a bit of love at the end and sort of give you a summary on that and whether you should invest in Obsidian Flames. So starting off, tip number 1, which is a very, very simple tip, I believe, don't FOMO. Do not get fear of missing out when it comes to the sealed product, unless it's something super premium that you know is going to be fairly short printed. Like something like the Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection, it might not be quite in frame down there, but it's such a super rare product. It's something you had to get some skin in the game, seat at the table, foot in the door, whatever the saying you want to use is to be able to get one. So unless it's a super premium product that you know is going to be short printed, don't FOMO. It'll get cheaper. And here's some examples, right? So I'll bring them up on the screen here. First one, I've got 3 of them. Silver Tempest, right? So when this first come out, people pay a premium so they can open the newest box, open the newest set. But after 4 months, it'll dip down. You can see in the graph here, it'll dip down to about $100 US for a booster box. So after 4 months, it dipped. Next example I wanted to bring up on the screen here. Paldea Evolved, the latest Scarlet and Violet set, just been out 4 months, and what do you know? It's dipped to $100 a booster box. These are all off TCG Player, by the way. And third example I wanted to give you, Astral Radiance. Now, this has been out just over 12 months, so you can't see the slightly higher price on the start of the graph, but the lowest price on the graph here dipped down to $98 after, what do you know, roughly 4 months. So I suppose what this data tells us is your initial purchase price at launch for a booster box is going to be higher than what it is in 4 months' time. Now, it's extremely unlikely that a massive new wave and reprint is going to come in 3 to 4 months. And you can generally see the wave, I guess. Launch price dips. If there is a reprint, if there isn't a reprint, it'll start creeping back up. If there is a reprint, we might see another dip again, like we've seen in Lost Origin, for argument's sake, just recently. But the point is, right, with booster boxes and when the right time to buy is, it should be, based on this, somewhere around 3 to 6 months. There's no exact law of buy bang on 4 months after the set's been released, because that is the damn cheapest price you're going to see, because we don't really know. But okay, let's say it doesn't get reprinted and it starts to climb again. So let's just take Astral Radiance as an example, right? When it come out, it's probably retailing 115, 120 US. It dips down to 100. All of a sudden, it hasn't been reprinted and it's climbed back up to 135. So you can see on the graph there on the screen for Astral Radiance that the best time to buy as an investor was when it dipped down to $98, which was its low point. Now, you might have even got some deals on that. Maybe someone was letting it go for cheaper than that. You might have got it for $85 or $90 a box. I'm not sure, but we're just basing it off TCG Player Graph. So $98, cheapest point. Okay, it's risen back up. Now, it could well get a reprint. It's still very much in competitive play, and Astral Radiance could get reprinted. Now, let's say it does get reprinted. What's it going to dip to? Is it going to dip lower than $98? Unless it's the world's biggest reprint, I highly, highly doubt it. That 135 price that it's currently climbed to, it could dip back down to 105 or 110. But when we look at this graph, and if we look at it, I could give multiple examples. The best time to buy seems to be when the market's flooded with a massive first wave of printing and it can't quite absorb it, and maybe it's just ticked over to a new set coming out, because a new set seems to come out every 3 months, and when attention turns to the new set, you see the leftover or extra stock of the previous set really start to dip in price. Hence why you seem to get that magical sort of 4-month margin or 4-month mark where things get a fair bit cheaper. So when's the best time to buy? Tip 1, don't FOMO. Wait 4 months, a new set will be out, the attention will turn to that, there'll be heaps of stock left of the previous set. We're seeing it in Paldea Evolve right now that Obsidian Flames is out. That's going to arguably, not always, there's rules to the exceptions, but arguably that's always going to be the best time to buy. Now, tip number two, right? And I'm going to use Obsidian Flames in this example because this is the latest and greatest set. I shouldn't use the word greatest, I actually don't think it is, but it's the latest set. Check hit rates or pull rates. So these are off, I'm going to bring up it on the screen here. This is Obsidian Flames hit rates or pull rates. It's off opening 8,000 packs. Again, it's off TCG Play. It's not me. I wish I had 8,000 packs to open, but I don't have a store and I don't have that much money. So anyway, 8,000 packs opened, and you can see the data, right? The biggest chase card in the set, which is that Secret Illustration Rare Charizard, which it's growing on me. I actually don't mind it. I wasn't a huge fan of it when I first saw it. I thought, oh, geez, what's our last big Charizard that we had? Probably the alt art from Brilliant Stars. And I thought, this isn't really a patch on that Charizard card, really. I know we had the 3 out of the Sword and Shield Premium Collection or the Charizard UPC, but I'm talking main set cards. This isn't as nice a main set card as the alt art Charizard, but hey, look, 1 in 216 booster packs after opening 8,000 packs is the data off of that set for pulling this Charizard. Like, that is, I can tell you now, that is a low pull rate. And I just wanted to bring this up on the screen to show you what I mean. Okay, we've got, I've brought up Lost Origins pull rate data on the screen here, and I'll tick back to Obsidian Flames in a second. But as you can see here, the pull rate data on a Giratina alt art, 1 in 720. So you're over 3 times more likely to pull a Charizard or 3 times less likely to pull a Giratina alt art than what you are a Charizard. Like, man, and okay, let's just jump back to the Obsidian Flames pull rates here. These are some hot pull rates. We haven't seen these sort of pull rates for a while. These are, you're pulling some fire out of this. And look, there's pros and cons to this. 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. The pros are, of course, I suppose when you're opening the packs, it feels a little bit more fun. Like you're pulling, you've got a better chance of pulling cards. It's not like, we've heard of Chilling Pain, we've heard of Evolving Cries, like opening maybe 2 or 3 booster boxes and feeling like you're getting nothing hot out of there. If you open 2 or 3 booster boxes of Obsidian Flames, You should be pulling some heat. So I suppose that's a positive. You'll feel like you're getting more fun or more enjoyment as a, I suppose, collector for opening the boxes. The second benefit is if you are a collector that likes to collect full sets, especially pulling them yourself, it's not going to take too many boxes or as many boxes, particularly throughout the Sword and Shield era, to pull a full set. So there's some positives, right? The negatives, especially from an investment standpoint, is there's more and more of these cards on the market. So the more product that gets opened, the more Obsidian Flames booster boxes, blister packs, and Elite Trainer boxes that get opened, the more supply you're going to have of these, Charizard SIRs, or what else is in there? The Ninetales Art Rare, or the Gloom Art Rare. Like, the market's very quickly, based on these pull rate data, is going to get flooded with these cards. Supply is going to increase, and we all know that if there's a massive influx of supply, then price should dip. So I think what we're going to see from Obsidian Flames, just from initial look, is these cards aren't going to be worth great dollars. So in terms of that, it really, really leads me in to my third point, which is tip number 3: don't buy singles straight up. Okay. There's not many on the market. I know people might want to have that Charizard straight up and be one of the first people in the first week to have that Charizard SIR, but that is going to dip drastically. And I've got 2 clear examples to show you here from the last 2 Sword and Shield sets. Big one being this, the Lugia Alt Art from Silver Tempest. When this card first came out at launch, it was $400 raw, and these were consistently selling on eBay between that $350 to $420 price. They were. Now, the current market value for an ungraded raw example of this is $129 US. It's nearly a quarter of the price of what it was at launch. Another clear example I wanted to show you is this one, the Mewtwo V-Star from Crown Zenith. When this first came out, and this is a great looking card, and I really liked what they did, that flip around when we had the Charizard from the UPC looking down, and now you got Mewtwo's view looking up. Cool little, I like what they did there. But anyway, this was a close to nearly $120 raw card at launch in the first sort of week. And now look at it. It's down pushing somewhere around $50 US for a raw example. So it's nearly, 2.5 times cheaper. So tip number 3, pretty clear, don't buy singles straight up. And, the trajectory, unfortunately, of this Obsidian Flames Charizard is probably going to be something that's moving south quickly. It'll probably come out of the gates, and actually I might bring them up on the screen here. I've got the singles prices for Obsidian Flames, and I didn't quite check what it's currently going for, but I'll write it. It'll be up on the screen here what it's currently going for, but that price, I can tell you now, that price is going to dip. And by the way, I got these prices, these come up 2 days ago, I think, so they're probably already changed. And that's what happens at the start when a set first comes out. The prices for singles fluctuate rapidly. We can see some rapid declines, and if a card that wasn't sort of hot at the start all of a sudden becomes hot, we can see some rapid increases in prices, but normally it's the decreases. So these prices, I can tell you now, will not hold. They just won't. They'll be dipping fast. So don't also FOMO and buy singles straight up. Wait for them to dip, because they will. So I suppose this isn't really tip number 4. This is more like, how do you know? How do you know if you should invest in a set? And should we invest in Obsidian Flames? So we got some hints there, like, don't FOMO on the sealed product. It'll get cheaper after around 4 months. Don't FOMO on the singles. They'll dip. And they'll dip hard. I can tell you now, they'll dip hard in Obsidian Flames. Make sure you check the hit rates and pull rates. And now if we sort of factor all those things together, you end up with a lot of data, but when you get a bit more experienced at it, you end up with this real feel about a set. You know if a set's going to be good. You know if a set's going to be good because you know it's got, lots of ancillary chase cards that are over $10, for argument's sake. You know it's got some heavy hitting chase cards that collectors, investors, streamers are going to want to open and try and pull in the future. You know if the box has good box art. And in Obsidian Flames' favour, that is a nice looking box with Charizard on the front, and it's a great looking Elite Trainer box with Charmander on the front, and it gets a sick promo. So thumbs up there. The rest of the set, I'm really concerned about. The pull rates are too strong. Singles are going to tank hard. I've heard 100 times on 100 different forums that, this set is the next Darkness Ablaze. Now, in Darkness Ablaze's defense, and this is the one part that we just don't know. Yes, you can get a feel for a set. You know if a set's going to be investable or not investable when you get experienced at it. You should, from the outset, without pull rate data, look at this set and go, it's not bad. It's not an S tier set and it's not an A tier set, but it looks like a solid B tier set. There's some cool Gen 1 Pokemon like Ninetales and Gloom and Pidgeot, that whole evolution chain as art rares that look pretty good. It's got Charizards in it. The special illustration rare isn't too bad. So you look at it and go, yeah, the sort of hits inside the set aren't too bad. Now, that comparison between Obsidian Flames and Darkness Ablaze, you know what? Darkness Ablaze was rising. It got a massive first print wave because there was so much demand for Pokemon at the time, and it got a pretty decent second print wave, which it sort of absorbed, and then it was starting to rise, and then all of a sudden, bang, we got hit with this massive third print wave of booster boxes and elite trainer boxes, and it just tanked the price, and it hasn't really moved anywhere in the last 12 to 18 months. It's probably starting to move or tick a little bit up now. So that's one thing that, yes, you may know from the outset if a set feels good, like Evolving Skies. That set from the outset, everyone knew it was a good set. And if you're an investor, you knew it was a good set. If you look at a set like Lost Origin, you know it's a pretty good set, like it's an A tier set. It might not be S tier like Evolving Skies. Another one, Crown Zenith. Man, in Australia here, you could buy Elite Trainer boxes for $77 from EB Games on special. Like, buy them all. It's such a damn good set. You know it is. The one thing that's out of everyone's control, which can upset the whole investability that we really have sort of no idea about, is the print run. And damn, that can have an impact on the price. I mean, look at Darkness Ablaze as the example. That was starting to move north. And I know it's not the strongest set, but bang, gets hit with a third print wave. Vivid Voltage, absolutely smacked around by a massive third print wave. There's countless examples. The one I used before, Rebel Clash, got a big first print wave and then sort of this second average print wave and then nothing. And then you know what? All of a sudden, it's an extremely average set. There's not much going for it, but it's moving north in price quickly. Sword and Shield Base, another one, similar to Rebel Clash. Big first print wave, somewhat medium-sized second print wave, and then nothing. And you know what? Prices have moved north fairly quickly. So that is the unknown that we just don't know. Crown Zenith, that's had a massive first print wave and another print wave. If it doesn't get another, that set's going to move north really, really, really quickly. If something similar happens to it, like Hidden Fates, where it, bang, even like 2.5 years after release, it got another massive print wave. It tanked the prices again and it's remained pretty stagnant from then on in. So that's the one thing we don't know about. Like Obsidian Flames, pull rates are strong. You're going to pull heaps of cards, but if it gets short printed, which is unlikely, but if it does, then it should be a good investment. So to summarize everything, take those tips on board. Buy sort of don't FOMO, buy sort of 4 months for the sealed product after the product comes out. Wait for the hits. You'll be able to pick them up cheaper. Don't buy them at launch, rush in. They will become cheaper. Get that feel based off pull rates for a set. And then, base your best judgment off of that. That's what I do. That seems to have worked pretty good so far. In terms of an absolute summary for Obsidian Flames, for me, it's at this stage a solid B tier set. There's some pretty good hits and pulls inside there. What we really need to wait on, which is going to take probably the next 2 years, is how it's printed. We'll see how the market absorbs this set. But one thing I can say for certain is those single prices, based on the pull rates, will dip quick. So, wait 6 months and you'll get a cheap special illustration rare Charizard. Leave me some thoughts below. What do you think? Thanks everyone again for watching. Catch you next time.